A pretty nasty weather front brought strong winds, heavy rain and snow to the lower South Island today, causing flooding, closing roads and schools in Southland and Otago. But it was the November snow that really was extraordinary. Paul Hales, who was born and raised on his Balfour farm, was standing at the window looking out in wonder when we called him.
I can see green in front of me, but on the hills around me it's still quite white, but we're reasonably low here at about 170 metres above sea level, and although it was a bit of a shock this morning and pretty white, there's been a bit of a thaw on, bit of wind and warmed up a wee bit, and yeah, the snow sort of disappeared from around us. But yeah, up on the hills there, probably be a bit annoying, I would suggest.
How long have you been there, Paul, for on that land?
My family's been here about 100 odd years. I've probably been here about 40.
And how many snowfalls can you recall or have you heard about in November?
Well, I can't really recall any, but to be fair, John, I'd have to look up my diary just to check, you know. The old memory's not always that good, and, you know, but, yeah, if we have had it in November before, it's probably only once, I would suggest.
So what sort of work do you do in November? What you planting, drenching, what are you doing? Yeah,
no, all of that sort of thing. I was actually planning to be drenching my lambs for the first time today, but yeah, when we woke up that soon changed. But yeah, a lot of tractor work, agricultural work. I mean, it just seems it's different from farm to farm. You know, you'll get grain farmers that are sowing their crops that'll end up being harvested in March or April, whatever. And then, I mean, the dairy farmers, they're always milking every day. So, you know, it's just different for everyone, I guess. I'm sheep and a bit of beef, so yeah, and like I said, we're flat here and a bit lower than other places. So, but yeah, as I look up to the hills, it's still pretty thick up on those hills. So I imagine sheep will be foraging for a bit of grass, and there could even be a bit of hay getting fed out if anyone's got any left, hay or baleage, I imagine.
Have you been shearing? Did you do spring shearing?
No, not this year, but people will have actually. I drove past a mob of sheep there before that looked pretty freshly shorn, but yeah, they're all pretty happy.
Well, they'd be pretty chilly though, wouldn't they? Or do they all just huddle together?
Yeah, they will a wee bit, but they're out grazing. As long as they've got some good grazing and a wee bit of shelter, they're pretty durable sheep.
Yeah, they're wonderful creatures, aren't they?
Probably don't realise just how tough they can be.
Yeah. What's the view out your window? Can you describe it to us?
Oh, it's quite picturesque, actually. If you like snow, it's green on the fields in front of me, and I can see an irrigator that's not going, but yeah, on the hills there towards Lumsden, quite white and thick still.
And the sky, can you see the sky, or is there still some cloud around?
Oh, yeah, there's a few blue patches here and there, but it's just sort of high drifting cloud at the moment.
Oh, I wish I was there. God, we were talking to someone on Checkpoint a couple of weeks ago, a regional councillor, I think, who was telling me it was 25 degrees in...
yeah, well, I think it was the last week I was in my shorts for the first time, and I'm not that quick to put the shorts on, but yeah, it was pretty hot there last week, or was it 10 days ago probably, and to be fair, we were actually a wee bit worried about how dry it was, so... bit of moisture, you know, certainly hasn't hurt.
Paul Hales, talking to us from his farm near Balfour. You don't hear a better Southland R than that one at the end there.